This is the all-new 2022 Volkswagen Golf GTI Autobahn. The Golf was completely redesigned for the 2022 model year, and now you can only get the GTI and the R. This particular one we're looking at has a pomelo yellow metallic exterior, which I will say it's not my favorite color, but it's very bright and it does stand out. The styling is pretty good, but I do prefer the previous generation in terms of styling and overall design. Overall, this is still a very handsome German hot hatchback. Powering the GTI is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that produces 241 horsepower and 273 pound-feet of torque. It is paired with a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. The Mark 8 Golf has more horsepower than its predecessor, which was the Mark 7. A 6-speed manual transmission comes as standard, while the 7-speed DSG is optional. Stepping inside, you can see that the cabin has been completely revamped. Down here you have your seating controls as well as 3 memory seat settings. The top of the line Autobahn trim does come equipped with leather seats, and its particular interior color is known as Titan Black. Here are your lighting controls. They are haptic controls. I'm not a fan of these haptic controls, to be honest, and you can find these on higher end Volkswagen and Audi products. Here is the 10.3-inch digital gauge cluster that is very configurable. As you can see, you do have a 3-spoke leather-wrapped steering wheel. And here is the GTI emblem as well. Now here's your infotainment screen. It is a 10-inch infotainment screen. To be honest, it could be better. It is quite laggy. The colors are good, but you can just see it just lags a lot. It's not very user-friendly. It looks very loud, as in the colors are very loud. It's not, I don't know, it's not a great interface to use. That we prefer the previous generation interface. This is just not such a great infotainment screen, at least in my opinion. You do have ambient lighting that is controlled right here through the infotainment screen. Only works when the ignition is on. And you have a bunch of mood lighting settings as well. Now here you have some shortcuts right here and your navigation, which as you can see does take quite a while to zoom out and to respond when you first press on it. It's rather glitchy and very laggy. Overall, this infotainment screen could have been far better. This is absolutely ridiculous. You have haptic controls for the temperature and the volume. I don't get why car manufacturers are trying to make the interior super minimalistic and all this, because everything has been minimalistic. I get their approach, but it's just this is way too far, and it's going to disappoint many customers, especially if it's a control that you use quite often. Right here you have some shortcut menus such as for your climate and drive modes, as well as the parking assist. The hazards button is located right here in the middle. There are 2 USB-C ports, a pretty decent cubby space, your engine start-stop button right here, and this odd gear shifter I've also seen on Porsches. So this controls the 7-speed DSG transmission. It's really odd, and I prefer a regular gear shifter. You do have your electronic parking brake right here, as well as a little cutout. Here you do have adjustable cup holders, and this also works as a wireless charger. As you can see, there's also a 12-volt power outlet. It's also a USB port right there. Decently sized glove box, pretty supportive, and it is adjustable. These leather seats are extremely supportive and comfortable, super plush, and I like the design. There you also have your glove box, which is a decent size. Let's move up here. You can see you do have your SOS controls, as well as lighting controls and haptic sunroof controls, which is just ridiculous. I just wish that this was an actual physical button and not this haptic thing. It's just so odd, and they're overcomplicating the design. I wish there was more physical buttons. They're overcomplicating it. I have to say, I definitely prefer the interior of the previous generation Golf. The seat is lined up with the B pillar, and I have plenty of space back here. For information, I am 5'7", which is a pretty average height. The rear passengers do have 2 air vents back here, and there are also 3-stage heated seats, as well as 2 USB-C ports. Here's the armrest, which is pretty supportive. There are also 2 cup holders, which are of a decent size. Now here's a view from the rear seats. Now let's go ahead and check out the cargo space. As expected from a small hatchback, you don't have an ample amount of room back here. If you fold the seats down, then you'll have a ton of more room, but with the seats up, again, not a lot of room, but it's what you expect from a small hatchback. And fortunately, you do have a privacy cover. Thank you so much for watching this review of the 2022 Volkswagen Golf GTI Autobahn. I will be honest, I definitely prefer the previous generation GTI, but this is still a great contender in its class.